Let me check my
There we
Facebook.
go. It says live
Is
on
this
Facebook now.
live? Okay,
Yes.
awesome. Hello, everybody. We're going to wait for for my computer screen to catch up with us. But hello. Hey, everybody. There we are.
You see it? Okay,
Hi.
good.
Yay, we're live. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Happy Sunday. I want to let a few more people pop on in. So we're just going to kind of welcome you all in for a second here. I have my lovely special guest with me today, Miss Shirley Brooks. I cannot wait to get into our chat. But as you are coming on in, if you would say hi or at least let us know where you're coming from. I'm going to be checking my phone. So if you have questions or comments throughout the broadcast, feel free to put them in the comments section. Please tag your bestie, your family member. Please share this video out. And also today, guys, I'm giving away a free ebook. Okay. I have the physical copy here, but I'm giving away this ebook. It's Heart to Mind, the Purpose Seekers Devotional and Prayer Journal. Okay. So 2 people will be entered into the drawing, but you have to share this video out. Okay. If you share this video out, you will be placed into the raffle to get the ebook. All right, guys. So thank you all for those who are joining in. I see you coming in. So we're just going to jump on into it, guys. I don't want you to miss any bit of nugget that Miss Shirley is going to drop for you guys today. Again, for those who don't know me, I'm Monica Matthew Smith. I am owner of Rich Chick 360 at richchick360.com. I'm also an author of the newest book, Heart to Mind, the Purpose Seekers Devotional and Prayer Journal. And welcome to, this is the virtual book tour and purpose power chat series. Okay. And again, I have my lovely guest, Miss Shirley Brooks. She is also, her words are inside of this book as well. And when you get the book or the ebook, you will find her quote on page 3. Okay, page 3, you will find her words. So I wanted her to come on in and just have a conversation about purpose. I want her to tell you guys about her business. So let's hop on into it. Shirley, first of all, welcome. How are
Thank
you
you for
today?
having me. I'm good. I always tell everybody this all the time, and nobody ever believes me when I say this, but like I always get so nervous to do this kind of thing because I just want to make sure, like I'm one of those people that I want to make sure that everything I say is not necessarily right, but that people get something from whatever I'm trying to give. And so that always kind of makes me a little bit nervous. Plus, I'm like an introvert, so all this kind of stuff. I'm like, I'm trying to grow this year, so I'm taking more opportunities to take on, so thank you, because you're actually helping me with one of my goals, which is to do more stuff like this and get myself out there and grow in that area where I feel I'm not the strongest. So
well, you're welcome, and you're absolutely amazing. So it is really my honor that you accepted to come on here. But why don't you go ahead and tell people, what do you do? I know that you're a life coach now and you have other things going on. So just kind of explain to us, what is it, that you are growing right now?
So I am a life coach, and I call myself a goal accelerator for women. I specialize in helping women to solidify their purpose, actually, and be accountable to their dreams, helping them to empower themselves and to build a life that they can love. And you said, what am I also working on right now? I am also working on this, with all the things that are going on with it's a lot of bad things going on right now, and this has been around forever, but it's just a lot of evidence of it now, more, or people are paying more attention to it, let me put it that way, in terms of like the Black Lives Matter thing, and just a lot of the tragic things that are going on with our community right now, due to racism. And what I think last week or week before last, whenever that Tuesday thing was, when everybody's like blackout, I took a break off of social media, and in taking that break, they're like, go learn this and learn that. And we kind of know our history, right? So I just kind of was doing some just thinking inward or whatever, going inward. And what came to me was, I'm a mom and I have a son, and obviously I'm married to a Black man. All my husband, my uncles, my dad, everybody, right? Brothers, everyone, they're all Black men. And not that this is not impacting Black women, but they are kind of a bigger target, so to speak. Right. And I want to, I was like, what can we do? And the thought came to me that we need to change the narrative. It's a lot of stories out there, positive stories about us, right? About Black women. And, but there's not enough positive stories being shared in the media about Black men. So right. A project I'm working on right now is to kind of get those stories out there. So awesome. That's me in a nutshell right now.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. So like you kind of touched on it a little bit as far as like what prompted you, but even before, all of the riots and just things that are happening now started to occur, what prompted you, or what drove you to want to be a life coach, and then also just to help women, just to discover their higher self?
Mm-hmm. Can you see? I feel like I have a glare. Okay.
There's a little glare, but I can still see you.
Okay. All right. I became a life coach because I could see how, like, in my own life and the life of people who I look up to and that have had success, they have more resilience versus some people who they fall down and they don't get back up again, and they don't make progress toward their goals and toward a better life. And it's simply because of their thought style, like how they think, And I want women to understand that, they have power, and the power is within them, and that they can design the life that they want. But it does start here. You have to start with what's in your mind. And just every time somebody talks to me, for some reason, I always say, make sure you have your notebook, because somehow they have all these aha moments when they talk to me. And I was just like, and they're always so grateful somehow. And somehow I help them to see something about themselves or pull something out of themselves that maybe they didn't. It's always been there, but for some reason, I was the one who could get it out of them and help them feel like, they can. Mm-hmm. So I was like, this is probably something I'm naturally good at, and I need to be sharing and doing to help more women.
That's amazing. Now, this is one of those questions that weren't on the list, but
that's okay.
Like how long ago, or when did you discover that you had that gift, that people actually left your conversation different, or when did you discover that was your thing?
I didn't know it when I was a kid, but I know, like, I would say, like, when I was late teens, early 20s.
Wow. Okay.
But I didn't know. Like, you don't know, right? Yeah. And then later on in life, just talking to, I think if you are younger than somebody and they feel like they got something from you, you're like, me?
Right. Right. Yeah.
So
yeah. Like,
it's
really?
like, really me? Yeah. Like, so it's just stuff like that. So maybe most of my life, but you don't really recognize it as a thing until, who knew that fast forward to the past 20 years, being a life coach would be a legitimate thing to pursue for somebody who is good at pouring into other people and helping them to see their better self. So, yeah.
And I love that because, and, we'll get more into this a little bit later, but to me, that just sounds like you understood, what lane, like what your purpose is. And like, at least that little part of it, right? Like, purpose is like huge, but at least you recognize, like, man, like I have this gift, and like you took steps to like further solidify your walk. Yeah. So
what's funny though? I'm going to tell you something. Like when I was So like all my siblings are, I think they're very talented anyway, but like they all do stuff like they play instruments. One of my sisters is a band director.
Okay.
One of my brothers is a photographer, but he's also he works at CDC and he does like the media production and stuff like that.
Okay.
Another one of my sisters is an engineer. My youngest sister is like a amazing like teacher, you know. And my other brother, he's like really good with the stock market. He can draw and all that kind of stuff. These are obvious talents, right?
Right.
I'm the oldest,
Okay.
and I felt for the longest until probably my early 30s that I wasn't talented, that I didn't have anything to offer.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, because it wasn't an obvious thing. Like, you know, you could place an instrument, you can place the
Right.
photography and stuff like that, but you can't really place influencing people's lives in a positive way.
Mhm. Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so it did take me a while to realize what was already in me, right?
Mhm.
But then when
Yeah.
I did, you know, actually pursue it in a, you know, professional way.
And you know that just reminds me that sometimes, I mean oftentimes, like that's how, and not to go like super spiritual, y'all know
No, it's
I'll go
fine.
faith.
Go where
But
you want to go, because I'm probably there too. So
I mean, like oftentimes it's those type of gifts that um let me see how that we often overlook. Those that are not quiet, but those that deal with well
they're not
deal
flashy, you know, it's
yes,
not a, you know, yeah.
yes,
Hmm.
yes. It deals more with the spirit.
Right.
And I mean, yeah, like having, those outward gifts, like I can write. I think I'm a good writer. That's cool. And like,
Hmm.
somebody who can paint, that's cool. But, I believe that when it comes to like gifts of the spirit,
Hmm.
those are often quieter and
Hmm.
yes, like they are less obvious.
Hmm.
Um, and I think also because of that, go into like how you said in your teens, somebody would say how you help them or something, and like you'd be like, "No." I think oftentimes it's those quiet gifts that that really change lives, but we often doubt them because they aren't big, like they like
Yeah, there's nothing
so
attached to it, or at least you think
right,
there's nothing attached to it.
right, right,
Yeah.
right. I girl, yes, okay. Let me go on, because like I often feel that way too. Like
Mhm.
sometimes, even like just with going live on Facebook or just with saying something, I will oftentimes feel like God might tell me to like say something to somebody or just put something out there. And I'm like, it's just words. Like, no, but your words. Like, you know what
That's
I'm saying?
another way I learned that that is something that is special, because I always, well, for one, you know, I grew up in the church, and, you know, they always talk about your gifts and they always talk about purpose
Mhm.
and things like that.
Right.
But, and even though a lot of the gifts that they speak of are the intangible gifts, the ones that are getting praised are the ones, you know, the praise dancers and all that
Right.
kind of stuff, you know, but no one really, they don't say to you that you could actually be someone to touch somebody's life. You feel like you might have to be a preacher or a minister to be able to do
Right.
that. Right.
Right.
And, you know, I always would say I want to be used by God to impart into people's lives in a positive way. But I thought it was going to come through makeup at some point in life. And we'll get to that later on. But,
Okay.
you know, it's just you sit there and try to figure out what is the obvious thing when it's something else. And I think that's the reason why I like being able to coach women, is because I want you to see what your authentic talent, like God-given ability is. You don't have to think that I'm not as good as somebody else, because what you do might be for lack of a better term, a humble gift, and it's no
Right.
gift is better than any other.
Yes.
But you know, you're just as needed by this world as that person is. You know,
Yes.
and there will be a lot of times where, you know, you're standing in line I'm standing in line at the grocery store, and I know I should have said what came to me to that person,
Right. Yes,
or
girl.
at work or wherever you are, and you're just like, you know, I need to say something, you
Right.
know. And last year, one of my friends, it was last year, year before last, one of my friends lost her daughter to cancer.
Okay.
And for some reason, like, it I would feel these different like connections. Like I know I need to go and say something. I would get up and walk, and then there would be like her mom or something like that, and she needed somebody to just hug her and talk to her and stuff like that. And I was just like, yeah, this is real. Like this is real, but it didn't feel real until like you have to stop being scared.
Right.
You have to stop being worried about what other people will think about what you say or what you do. You know, you have to literally let the spirit move you, you know, and it's not to sound kooky or anything like that. Your intuition, the spirit,
Right.
whatever you want to call it,
Right.
that's your purpose guide.
Yes. Girl,
You know?
well, you know, I already 100,000% agree with you. And we can talk about that all day long. So let's move
I
on.
know. Like, let me stop.
um, but so now, okay, before we go any further, how can people connect with you? How, you know, if they have a question about your services, and I'll put it in the comment section too after we're done. How can they contact you?
The best place to find me is on Instagram, Your Success with Shirley. I like sending people there because my links are there in my bio, but I do post a lot about like a lot of positive stuff that I want people to see, and just things to affect your perspective, because that's really what guides life, is how you look at life, you know. So I'd rather you go there, because even if you never call me for anything, at least you can get some kind of positive inspiration every day.
Awesome. Okay,
Yeah.
guys, I'll put it in the comment section shortly or after the video, okay? But it's Your Success with Shirley on Instagram. Okay, guys. Okay, so and then for those who are coming on in, hello, thank you for joining us. I'm with Miss Shirley Brooks. She is a life coach and a thought leader. And today we are talking about purpose and the power of purpose. I'm also giving away 2 ebooks. So if you share this video out, you will be in the running to get a copy of Heart to Mind, the Purpose Seekers devotional and journal. So go ahead, share it out, and good luck to the winner. So we're gonna keep on going now, Shirley. So getting into more purpose, like we kind of tapped around it, but what is your definition of purpose? I know everybody kind of has their own view, but what is your view of purpose?
So purpose by definition is a reason for which something is done or created, or for which something exists. I believe that that is an accurate definition. We all have something in us that motivates us to get up every day, to keep us going. It's our reason for living, and it makes us, you know, feel like that's what we were created for, right? I don't think purpose is like some mystical kooky thing that you have to like go to a monastery to figure out, or something like that. But I also don't think that it is one thing. I think that it varies based on your current values or where you are in life at the time. Like in my 30s, I thought that my purpose was my 20s, I thought that my purpose was doing makeup. You know, I thought that I was supposed to be a makeup artist, but that was the way that I affected people. Like women would have aha moments when I would do their makeup, kind of a thing. So I was like, oh, I guess this is my purpose, you know. And in that time period, maybe it was, right? But then in my 30s, it became my family. And then, you know, now like my late 30s, and now I'll be 41 this year. But since my late 30s up through now, it's still family oriented. Makeup is a thing that I like to do, but I think it's more so about my natural desire to help people and help people see that they have talents, and that they have abilities that are meant to serve a bigger picture, you know. And my goal is to do that and to make a bigger impact on society. So that is what I feel like purpose is by definition. And like I said, I feel like it can vary based on the chapter you're in life, you know.
Love it. And I totally agree with that too. Like, I believe that God uses us in different seasons, right? You know, because like you said, we still have other things that, you know, we're good at, and at different points that might have been like our focus. And then like kind of once that kind of goes, then, you know, we transition. And I think, and I was having this conversation with somebody else too, and I think that's important. And I'm glad that you said that, for people to hear that it's okay to transition with
Right.
life.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Like
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I feel like, I mean, even speaking for myself, if I'm going one way, or, involved with this organization, or doing this, or whatever the case might be, even having this friend or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
that when the season changes, I have to hold on. I have to hold on. Like, you know what I'm saying? Can't that
Mm-hmm.
be like something that can hold somebody back, if they just feel like
Mm-hmm.
they have to just keep going, even if it seems like that season has changed?
I think you're right. And I think that if you think about nature and how certain things in nature, they shed a skin, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or even if you think about like a butterfly, like it
Mm-hmm.
starts off as a caterpillar, it serves its purpose as a caterpillar. If it wants to be stuck as a caterpillar and not go on to the next season, you'll never see the beautiful butterfly,
Wow, that's
right?
true. Mm-hmm.
So you have to be willing to, if you have to be willing to let go of things and people and places if you want to grow. Like flowers grow, and when they first grow, they're like just green leaves, right? Then
Mm-hmm.
as they get bigger, they add more foliage or whatever, and they get their
Mm-hmm.
petals and all that kind of stuff, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I'm learning with my roses that apparently those things, when they grow, the buds, or they grow so pretty, and then the rose falls off and it stays off for a minute, and then they come back. And it happens like several times over the course of like the spring and the summer. And like this year, I don't know why I paid so much attention to it, but
Mm-hmm.
I did. And I didn't remember that last year it did the same thing, but I thought it was something wrong. And I was like, man, what is going on? Is it
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
5G? Is it COVID? Why aren't
Yeah.
why are my
All
roses not
that,
here?
right?
Because they were so pretty at the beginning of spring, and then now they're growing back. But that's what they
Yeah.
do, and that's what we do. Like we change and we come
Mm.
back even more beautiful. So
Love
yeah.
it. I love it. Words from the life coach, y'all. Okay, so I'm going to read your quote here, and then I want you to tell us, why you chose this quote.
Okay.
Or how did you come up with
How to
this
come
quote?
about? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, guys. So on page 3 of the book, Heart to Mind, Purpose Seekers Devotional Journal, Shirley was so gracious to put in her original quote, and it reads, "It's not that the bravest person doesn't feel fear. They just can't be controlled by it. I am brave." So can you take us a little bit deeper with that quote, Shirley?
Well, I mean, it's even this right now. Like this is, I guess, I don't know what I was thinking about that day when I said it, but it was probably something to do with something I was about to do that was going to challenge the heck out of me.
Okay.
And before that would paralyze me, right? Like I'm just not going to do it,
Mm-hmm,
which is
mm-hmm.
not operating in my purpose, right? I'm shy. I'm an introvert. I'm not the most confident. I am not a master orator yet. Not rich yet.
You're
I'm,
fine.
I'm a caring and concerned human. I'm a
Yeah.
person with a big heart. I'm a person who loves God and wants to be used by Him to serve. And I am generally happy and extremely grateful. And I do not have all the answers or ideas. And I'm saying all of that because everybody feels the same way at some point, right? They can see all their I ams and their I am nots. But
Mm-hmm.
when I do stop and just step out, even when I'm scared, but focused on what God wants me to do, somehow those are my most positively impactful moments. And that kind of overshadows the fear, right?
Yeah.
If I let my I am nots, and if we, those who are listening, let our I am nots combined with fear stop us, we will hinder somebody else's breakthrough.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like fear is kind of selfish. But
Mm.
I
Wow.
yeah. So, and then like this year, like I said, I vowed to myself at the beginning of 2020 that I would just do it scared, and not for me, but for those who need what I have to give, for those who need to feel brave enough to share and live in their purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So I move scared all the time, and um, others are feeling better whenever I'm moving scared. And those are seeds that I'm planting right in other people's lives. So
Mm-hmm.
my moving anyway is not allowing fear to control me as I have allowed it to so many times before. And again, how many people did I let down because of that? So I feel fear, I move anyway, and that move anyway is what makes me brave.
And it's amazing that you just said that, because I was thinking about this earlier. Actually, yeah, earlier today or yesterday, that we're all like, okay, well, first of all, we're all kind of interconnected here on earth. I feel like God puts us all strategically in different places that he wants us to impact, that like those people. Like there might be somebody in the army who God has placed there to impact those folks. I'm not in the army, so maybe I can't be as relatable. Like, and so so I was thinking, and I mean, like there's so many times I either don't move or I move slow because of fear myself. And it dawned on me, like, I could be hindering somebody else from doing what God has placed them on this earth to achieve, because maybe what God has for me to do can help activate somebody else to do what they're supposed to do. And not to sound like we're just kind of like just all big, like we're all pawns here and puppets, but I truly do believe that we're here, on an assignment, and God has us all here on an assignment, and somebody else might be depending, just like you said, might be depending on us to do what we're supposed to do to activate them. And so I feel like if I don't do this, like you said, I'm letting the next person down, whoever that might be, right? Whoever that might be. So if you guys are listening, I want you just to consider like what Shirley is saying. And even if you're scared, do it scared, like, because your purpose is so much bigger than even what you can even imagine. And I'm sure that you agree, right, Shirley? That, and just just step out, just take the first step. If you're watching, if you are considering saying something or doing something, just do it, because you never know what you are activating in the earth, what you are helping somebody else manifest, that maybe they've been stuck and God has been trying to tell them to move forward. Anything, we don't know how God is like working through us. So do it scared. That is a word in and of itself. So thank you, Shirley. So now, how important do you feel that it is for people to seek out that purpose? Like sometimes, there is the number one search is how to find my purpose, right? And many people don't. But so how important do you think that pursuit is?
I don't think purpose is something that is a 100% seek kind of a thing.
Okay.
I think it is already in us. But the thing about it is, people, even I, at some point, was looking for, what is that? Like looking for it as if it's something outside of me. Right?
Yes.
So it's not a matter of you don't seek it per se, but like, I think you grow up thinking that purpose is a thing outside of you. Like, let me go find that shirt I can't find, kind of a thing, right? And it's not that. Now, do you have to live life and experience life in order for it to present itself to you and you recognize it as that? Yes. But I don't think that you have to go seek it. So I think it is important that you live life and that you start seeing things in life as for you, no matter good or bad, so that you can start to develop that, right? I think you get to a point where you start to care more about how you impact others and notice the trend of what starts to matter more to you and makes you feel happy inside and fulfilled, combined with how you make others feel, and you become more self-aware and less concerned about being embarrassed, or more concerned about, even if you're concerned about being embarrassed, you're more concerned about sharing your light, because you value your light more. Like we don't value our light, right? And that's part of the reason why we don't realize we have a purpose. Our light is our purpose. Those are the same thing. I have this quote from a person named C.G. Jung, and they said, "Your visions will become clear only when you look into your own heart. Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes."
Wow. Who looks
And
outside dreams?
and
I
who
love
looks
that.
inside awakes. But if you look within, you awake. And we awake to our purpose by going within. We go within by becoming more self-aware, more self-accepting, and we notice less of who or what doesn't value us for who we are, and more of who or what makes us feel good about who we are. So to me, it is important that you understand what purpose is, and that you understand that purpose is basically self-awareness and self-acceptance, and you stop floating through life and you start living life. I didn't start to feel purpose driven. Oh, were you about to say something? Because I feel
Oh
like
no,
I'm
go ahead,
rambling.
go ahead, go
Okay,
ahead.
I feel like I didn't get.
I'm just hanging
I'm
on
like,
your
I don't think I'm
words.
even giving her space
I'm
to
soaking I'm
talk.
soaking everything that you're saying up. Go ahead.
Okay. But I didn't start to feel like purpose driven until I started to learn more about me and become more
Yeah.
accepting of me. And sometimes that happens early and sometimes that happens late, but it happens,
Right.
and
Right.
so don't feel bad if right now you feel like you're floating. You're on here with us, listening to us right now. So this is probably your cue to stop floating and look within and start being more accepting of yourself and more aware of things and how you impact this world. And more than likely, that's your purpose. But I would allow others in comparison, which is the worst thing. Comparison is the devil. And how they viewed me determined my destiny. And your destiny is a part of your purpose, and I would let that get in the way. So when I took the wheel of my life versus because when you let other people impact how you what you do and don't do, you're letting them drive your life versus being purpose driven.
Right.
And so when I took my will to drive my own life, that's when I started feeling more whole and at home with myself.
Right.
So purpose is like you feel at home with yourself.
Yes.
So if you, yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And I just wanted to piggyback off of that because you said something that was it just hit home. Oftentimes we look toward doing things because, naturally they're going to make more money for us or do something. But, sometimes we neglect to go after those things that just make us feel whole, that just make us feel fulfilled. And like that speaks to what you were talking about, looking inward. Like, even if nobody is giving you accolades or nobody is recognizing like this right here, like us talking and just us talking about purpose and the spirit and being like this is giving me life.
And that's what it does it for me every day. Like that's the thing for me, is to be able to do exactly what we're doing right now. And if I continue to be afraid about that, then my life would feel less fulfilled and other people would not be positively impacted. So you got to do that thing that makes you feel motivated, makes you feel like you were created for it. And it could be makeup, or it could be a sport, it could be whatever. But don't think that if it's that so-called quiet thing that's not it, because that's as big as what is popular, right?
Y'all listening?
I had to learn that myself. Like, if you could sit there with regret and be like, man, if I would have figured this out in my 20s, I'd be rich right now, or something like that, and it's like, or I'd just be happier or something like that. But like, that's just not how it went. And it's fine, but if you're older or younger, like, now is the time. It's never too late. You just have to do it. You have to operate in your purpose. And I feel like purpose does give you perspective, and I think perspective contributes to your purpose. They're like, connected to each other, and the better perspective you have, the better life you can have. And I could go on and on and on. So you tell me when to shut up. But
we're gonna have to have a part 2, because I'm for real. Like, we are on the same page with this. And honestly, I would love to do like some other projects with you, collaborate on some things.
I need you to be on my panel.
Yes, let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Because I love just the whole spirit of this conversation. Let me go to our comments really quickly. Thank you, Courtney, for watching. Thank you, Demond. Thank you, Carol. Hey, Brenda. Hey, Portia. Hey, Yvonne. Courtney said, wow, are the horsemen of the apocalypse galloping down the street? So much is happening right now. Courtney said, nice quote. Everyone is said to be related to one another by 360 degrees of separation. We are not placed on this world for ourselves. That is true. Hey, Q, that's my mentor there, guys. Q, speak your truth, queens. He said, hey, Karen Perkins, thanks for joining in. Guys, if you have any questions for Miss Shirley, go ahead and put them in the comments section. I'm just going to keep this conversation going. And so, Shirley, if you don't mind sharing with us, was there ever a time when you were not, like, you were doing something and you just felt like this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing? Like, this isn't it. Like, this ain't purpose. And if so, how did that make you feel? Or like, what type of feelings came out of, doing something that you didn't quite feel like was what you were designed for, in so many words?
Well, my job.
Yeah. Oh, look, don't get me started.
Listen, but let me tell you about that. So let me tell you about that. So like
Okay.
years ago, it's probably like 5 or 6 years ago, I was just like, yeah, this is not for me anymore.
Yeah.
But in that time period, and it wasn't about money, it was about literally quality of life. I was just like, this is not the deal for me. I don't even feel like I'm making any kind of a impact, So back then I had gotten to network marketing because I thought that was going to help me to get out of that, right? But network marketing was not my purpose either.
Okay.
And so it was just one of those things that became like feeling like my job. Like I still dabble in it now because it's just fun to get products and stuff. But in terms of like it, at the time, I just knew it was going to be my exit from, that was going to make me get out of what I felt like wasn't my purpose.
Gotcha.
And then in doing that, at the time, I felt like my purpose was I needed to be at home. Like I needed to be a stay-at-home mom, because if I do that, then I'm going to be able to do all the other things in life that I need to do. But if nothing else, I'm going to be a better mom, as if I was just such a horrible mom at the time. But, I didn't know. I had this weird picture of it or whatever. And so I was doing all these things and none of them were fruitful. None of them were actually fulfilling what the ultimate issue was. The ultimate issue was that not the job and not the network marketing or anything like that. I didn't know me enough to know that I was right where I needed to be for right then.
Love it.
Right. And that with or without that job, and this is what purpose is, with or without that job, purpose is there. Your natural purpose is there. So I could work the job for the rest of my life. But if I can do this too, then I feel fulfilled. I feel like I'm living in my purpose, because if I can touch somebody's life, and make them feel valued and understand that what they have is valuable and that the world needs it, with or without a job, you can do that. That's purpose.
Right. And I believe that, like you said, if you have that, it doesn't, yes.
It's perspective is what it is.
Yes. I love that. Yes, it's definitely perspective. And I think that's why there's so many unhappy people walking around these days, because they haven't tapped into or come to that realization of that perspective. They think, oh, I have to work this job because, it's paying me 6 figures or whatever. And like, they're chasing that, but they don't know the thing that will get this. Like they, if you don't know, and this goes to, if you don't look inward to discover, then then where else can you look? You have to look outward. And so outward is the material things, money.
Right. And it's a bouncing ball. That could be everywhere. That could be all over the place. And so you still are not fulfilled.
Yes.
I have this quote from, I don't know if I ever pronounce this person's name right, but I always read stuff by them. Eckhart Tolle, I think that's how you pronounce it.
Okay.
But it's once you have reached a certain level of consciousness, you are able to decide what kind of relationship you want to have with the present moment. And one decision
Mm.
changes your entire reality. So, right, you can decide to be motivated by what serves you and others positively, no matter what your situation is. So it's not a job, or a certain status in life that dictates purpose or dictates, happiness.
Mm-hmm.
Your
Mm-hmm.
happiness is going to come from operating in your purpose. And, um, I guess
Yes.
that's it I have to say
Yes.
about that. But you have
Yes.
to, love yourself and value yourself and discover yourself.
And I love that you get to have, or you get to choose what type of relationship you have with the moment. Okay, so I have a story to tell. It's very short. Last
No,
night, and I laugh now, but like me and food, like we have this type of emotional thing. Like we like, okay, so, and I'm vegan, right? So
right.
my husband went to the
I'm
store.
curious about this story because I'm like, okay, what is she gonna say? She's a vegan. I mean, vegan food is not bad, but
Okay,
okay,
well,
let's hear it. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
it gets good. It gets good. Okay, so I sent my husband to the store to get, so Ben and Jerry's has the non-dairy ice cream section.
I know. I like the Cherry
Girl,
Garcia one.
girl, like their milk and anyway. So okay, so he's at the store, he's getting different things, and since he's hurrying, he doesn't look at the carton,
Oh,
and he gets the
dairy one.
dairy version,
Mm-hmm.
and he brings it home, and because of COVID, I'm still wiping down everything. So I pulled the ice cream out, and I'm like, this is dairy, and so the plan was for him to take it back and exchange it. So I stuck it in the refrigerator, right? So last night, and he didn't take it back. And so last night, I just had like the strongest sweet tooth. And this is how the enemy works. The strongest sweet tooth, right? And I'm like, dang, but it's that non-dairy. I mean, it's the dairy ice cream in the freezer. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, should I? I mean, and I'm getting moody now because
Mm-hmm.
it's like I want something sweet, but I don't want that, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't have many other options. And so
Mm-hmm.
I'm literally getting like upset. Like I can feel my I'm getting moody. Like I'm like snapping at him, like just
Uh-huh.
having an attitude. And then I had to stop and say, Monica, this is a choice that you're making for yourself,
Yeah.
I mean, yes, you can eat the ice cream and but then that would contradict everything that you're not eating it for, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, and then I said, and then instead of having a tantrum because you can't have your ice cream, calm it down. Like you don't want to spend any minutes like just being upset, like what I'm
Right.
saying, like just being. And so I had to literally talk myself through that moment to make a decision. I mean, like it was a literal decision. I can sit here and pout and be mad and like just ruin the next hour or so,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
or I can just either figure out what else I can eat that might satisfy that sweet tooth and be happy and move
Mm-hmm.
on, because that one little moment of not having ice cream isn't going to ruin like my whole life. So I feel like definitely when you're doing something with the purpose versus not knowing why you're doing something, you definitely have more control
Right.
over your life, which then
Right.
you have control over your happiness. So I mean, I just
Mm-hmm.
want to like that just kind of sparked that memory, because I mean I just had like a literal conversation. I mean, yeah, I could have stayed pouty until I naturally got over it, but I was like, okay, no, I'm not about to spend any more time being mad when I have so much life that I can just enjoy in the moment. And so yeah, I love that quote.
That's perfect. And that's like, even though it was ice cream, it's still like an example that could cover everything in life. It's like, if you've decided that this is a journey you want to be on, sometimes you have to make sacrifices and you will be tempted to do something else, and something else might feel good, but this is not going to help me And then also in me saying that I know this is not going to be productive for me, I have to keep good perspective and keep a good attitude. Like, don't let the choice to be disciplined impact your happiness.
Right. Definitely,
Pat yourself on the back because you did the right thing.
Thank you, girl. And then
The right thing for you.
And then my alternative. So what I forgot that I had some bananas. So I'll often freeze like some bananas. It's called nice cream. So I'll freeze bananas and then I put it in a blend, like in my Ninja with peanut butter and then a little bit of almond milk, and it gets like that ice cream consistency.
Yeah.
And then I'll add some non-dairy chocolate chips and some walnuts, and like that is so satisfying. So I found that in the freezer. So I was good.
When you made the decision to not let that setback, for lack of a better term, determine your attitude for the day.
Yes.
And the universe made a
way.
way.
Good. Didn't I do?
Yeah, you did.
Okay, so Shirley, I mean, you have already been dropping nuggets, so I mean, this might be kind of redundant, but what advice would you give to someone who might be struggling right now to find, what that purpose is, or just how to go about finding, like, or like you said, it's not so much seeking or finding something outside of you, but if they're struggling with identifying their purpose, what advice would you have for them?
That you are not alone and you are not lost. I don't believe that you have not found your purpose. It's been there. I believe your purpose is always with you, and sometimes it can even change you too. Like finding your purpose can change you, but if you or becoming aware of it. And I think that's really what it is that it's a matter of self-awareness. If you're having trouble understanding what motivates you, which I think we all know what motivates us, we just might not sit down and take the time to take inventory of it, right?
True.
What makes you want to wake up every day? You need to get a better understanding of you. And how can you get a better understanding of you in the world that we're in right now? You got to put your phone down, close the laptop, turn off the TV, stop answering emails, even close that book you might be obsessed with right now. Like you would be surprised how many people go down the self-help road and they're like, all these books they're reading, but nothing is sticking, nothing is resonating. They still feel lost. Put it down and develop a relationship with yourself. Start dating you. Learn what makes you feel sad. Learn what makes you feel good. Learn what makes you feel like you can do anything. Learn what makes you feel fulfilled. Learn what makes you see life as possible for you. When you do all these things, it will help you articulate your purpose. That's what it is. I think that purpose is not a thing that you have to seek. You have to learn how to articulate it. So that's the difference. But it's always been there. So start moving guided by what motivates you over fear. And opportunities kind of just start to come. Like, that's not a lie. Like, that is what's been my life these past few years. It's just opportunity. And especially this year, like when I said, I'm not going to let fear be my guide. And I'm going to start acting and doing, whether I'm scared or not. Opportunity upon opportunity upon opportunities presented itself. And opportunity is not always attached to money. Opportunity is attached to what you value in life. Money is a thing, right? But that's not the currency of the universe. It's all your willingness and your actions that are the currency, and that's what gives you a rich life.
And I'm glad that you said that too, because I feel that too. Like when I get into a rhythm of something, I truly do feel like that unlocks. Like if you're in a rhythm, it just unlocks it. It's hard for me to explain it, but definitely, like, yes, like if you step out there, then I truly do think like there are laws that govern us. And sometimes people might think, oh, laws of, like, the law of attraction and law that's other talk. But I mean, what everything is energy. Everything is energy. So I'm glad that you said that, because you know, I don't think people really understand how important, like, I mean, that could even go for just mindset.
Yes, it is. It
Yeah,
is because, like attracts like, and the more, like, if you just think about what's the smallest thing you could do right now if you feel like you don't have a good quality of life, that will make the biggest impact, and that is free gratitude. Start looking at I mean, if you feel like you are the most broke person right now, do your fingers work?
Right.
Can you see? Can you
Right.
talk? What are the things you have that you can't put a dollar amount on that you are grateful for? And if you sit down and you just spend a few minutes every day just thinking about what you're thankful for and saying that, more your brain automatically looks for more opportunities for whatever you give it. So if you give it negative seeds, it's going to grow negative seeds. It's going to look for more negative things for you. This always happens to me. I just am never lucky. Your brain is going to look for more of that. And if you sit down and think about it, you get more of that. But if you turn around, and it's not like an overnight thing, just like it took you, if you've had years of a certain mentality, it's going to take some time for things to correct itself. But if you don't start now, then it's never going to happen. And like you said, you can't set a rhythm if you don't start.
Right.
And
you know, speaking of time, like, I think that's a crucial thing that you brought up too, because my husband and I, well, I mean, I'm not gonna put it all out there, but like we just paid off a major debt, like just like paid off, and I mean, just grateful. But I remember we're putting it on like my goals, like sometime last year, right? You know, I put it on my goals. It wasn't even like a goal; it was just a list of things that I want in my life. Right.
Yes.
Like a vision board. It wasn't, it wasn't anything fancy, but I put it up, and then every day I just looked at it and I just read it. And like, you know, even though it seems so far away. And so like when it actually happened, I went back and I looked at that list and I said, wow, like that was actually on that list. And I mean, and like you said, it wasn't anything that happened like the next month. I mean, it was a year, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I love it. And so now, why do you think people never find their purpose? Like, why do you
I think that people never are able to articulate their purpose because they don't think it's important to learn themselves, to get a relationship with themselves. They don't think that everything for them is outward focused. And when I say outward focused, it's not just a matter of, you might think that money is going to make you happy or that career is going to make you happy or something like that. You compare yourself to other people, and social media and stuff like that have made it worse. You know, you look at what you see online is what people show you. Right. And you can make the prettiest corner in your room, okay, and be living in squalor. Right. How much does it cost to, go to Target and get a couple things and make that room look pretty? And then I'm just always taking all these pretty pictures and posting about how happy I am about everything in life, because life is just so amazing. And that's not to say life can't be amazing, because it can be, and it is, depending on your perspective. But don't compare your life to other people. I think that if you are living a life of comparison and not taking the time to look at your life, put it in perspective, and be grateful for where you are, and even looking back at where you came from, you're not going to be able to articulate your purpose.
I love it. And I have to remember that articulate your purpose. It's not so much not finding it or discovering it, but how do you articulate? Love it. And you're the first person to make me think about it in that way. So I appreciate that. And I know a lot of these things that, we still have yet to like kind of talk about, we've already kind of covered them. But if you have anything more that you want to say about it, as far as like, the relationship between faith and spirituality, or purpose and spirituality and faith, is there any more that you want to talk about or expand on as far as like just that connection between them?
I'm not like a biblical scholar or anything like that, but like there is a scripture, I think it's in Jeremiah, and it just talks about, God knows the plans he has for you or something like that. And,
Okay.
when I was going through it these past few years with some stuff that was going on with me personally,
Yeah.
um, I had to hold on to that. And when you decide, this is the other thing, when you finally are like, okay, um, I'm gonna step out and do the things that I've been scared to do because I know it's for a bigger purpose.
Right.
So many things start to happen that you start feeling like, well, I'm not even credible to be the person to deliver this message now because look at what's going on with me,
Right.
and like things like that. And you cannot let that hold you back. Like besides doing it scared, you have to just do it too, like no matter what the situation is, because I hope I'm answering that question. I don't even think I'm
Yes.
answering the question.
No, girl,
Am
keep
I okay? But yeah, like I don't know why, that's just what I felt. But
yeah.
yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I think that having a relationship with, for me, my relationship is with God. I don't know what, everybody else believes, but I do think that it is important to connect your spirituality to your purpose, because it does help with your perspective and your outlook on life. I can look back at so many situations and I can see where something more to me did it for, like
Right.
made the scene better, or,
Right.
protected me, or, created opportunity for me and things like that that I couldn't do on my own. So
All the time.
I do feel like there is a connection between your relationship with yourself and your relationship with, and someone said that, like, if you develop your relationship with yourself, you learn God too.
Okay.
And I do believe that that's all interconnected. Like, I believe God is in us, and that, how can you go through life without getting to know yourself and getting to know your higher power?
And I always say, if you want to know how something is made and how it works and what it's made for, go to the one that created it, right?
Hmm.
I mean, it could be this cell phone. If I want to know how to use my apps or how to use anything, I'm not going to go to the furniture store. I'm gonna go to Apple, right?
Right,
So
right.
I mean,
Go to
like,
the source.
go to stores, yes, girl. And
Yeah.
so God created us, right? So if we
Hmm.
need to know anything about us, we should definitely try to seek Him
Hmm.
more. And that's
Hmm.
exactly why. I mean, like, that's one of the driving forces of what led me to, create the devotional, is because
Right.
I know for me, and like, just to piggyback off of what you said, like, things have happened in your life that it was more than just you, right?
Hmm.
Like, things have happened, like, just even my move to Texas from Wisconsin, like, just different times throughout life, even looking back, things that I didn't see at the moment, I'm looking
Right.
back and I'm like, man, like, God, like, that had to be all Him, because so when I moved here, like, I was pretty much homeless at first, only for like a couple of hours because God came through.
No,
But
but that's the state you were in when you got there.
yes, because the apartment, and I told this testimony like plenty of times, like, the apartment that I had been talking to for months prior to my
Hmm.
move, who guaranteed me I would have a spot, like, when I came here, a few days prior to my move. I'm calling them like, hey, I'm coming down. Like, I'm coming on the day that I told you I was coming. And then all of a sudden they didn't have a space available. And,
Hmm.
I'm in Texas, Houston, all by myself. Yes, I have
Hmm.
my girlfriend who was married and her family. And she volunteered me to come and stay with them. And I declined because I knew God did not bring me down here to have to depend on somebody else. Like, I mean, like, that's just how my faith is set up. I knew that He called me here. I didn't know why. I just knew He called. Long story short, so we're coming down here, like, my family is helping me from Milwaukee. We have the 27-foot U-Haul, girl, parked in the Walmart parking lot. That's like
Oh
across
man.
from where I stay now,
Yeah.
actually. And just like, Lord, like, I have no, I mean, literally had no place to go. But when I came down here to interview and like to look for apartment, I looked at several apartments, and there was one that I visited, but I wasn't fond of at all. Like just ugly, like just and but so I got back home and they sent me a little postcard, just hey, thank you for visiting, blah 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 blah. Right, here's like $250 off your first month's rent if you go with us. So even though that wasn't like my choice at all, I still just stuck it, in my folder and just forgot about it, right? Like whatever. Girl, so came down here in the parking lot, in the Walmart parking lot, all my stuff, all my life. And like Lord, like what am I going to do? I picked up the folder, and then what dropped out? That little postcard of that little ugly apartment that I swore I would not. So long story short, I called them. Girl, they had one bedroom left, and it was across the street from. And so I ran over there, and they were like, "Well, somebody else is already scheduled to come look at it. So, but just come and look. That's fine. Blah blah blah." So I went over there, and they were like, well, just start the paperwork. But if that couple wants it, since they were there first, they can have it. I write the paperwork, and she came back and said, it's yours. And then it wasn't going to be ready for like a whole week, right? Because like they still had to clean it up. So they let me put all my stuff in the garage for storage for like,
oh wow,
girl, yes. And like what? So I mean, okay, and I forgot why we even got on. Oh yeah, bigger. So like, just when I look back on just how God, has worked, that what you said about there's something greater at work. And so now that I'm here, all the things that I've done and blessed with, and all those who have blessed me, I see that there's purpose in me being here.
Right, right.
And so, but like, if I was just going off on my own, I probably wouldn't have moved here. I was like, what I'm saying, I was in my late 20s moving down here with me and my cat, like by myself. But I definitely see how God, how there was definitely greater at.
Right. And I think when things like that happen too, the reason why it's important to, like, when you're kind of doing like a gratitude review or something like that, you can look back at a situation like that. And if you're in something right now, you look back at that and you're just like, you know what, I made it out of that. I know I can make it out of this, because where a way was made back then, it will be made right now. And that gives you a better perspective and a more positive outlook on the current situation. And how you think about a situation is honestly going to determine how you live it. And it doesn't mean that it's just going to always be, the outcome you wanted, but it's still, like you said, that was that was the ugly apartment, right?
Yes, girl.
But that ended up being what you needed for right now.
Yes.
And you still ended up being able to, make progress to get to where you are today. Yes. But if your outlook back then was, man, crazy stuff like this happens to me all the time, I don't know what I'm going to do. And just, you go down that whole road. And there are times though where, like, you can sit there and have your moment, but you got to snap out. Give yourself a minute to go through the moment, but then, it becomes more productive when you can sit there and focus on, okay, things like this have happened before. God has made a way before. It will be, way will be made again. And, it's been plenty of times where, it's like I do my budget I put sticky notes on different things, but I have like a notebook. And, it's been plenty of times in the past few years where I'm just like, I have to get my sticky note and write on there, God will make a way, and just put it in there and close the book and walk away. And the next thing here's some money from somewhere you weren't expecting, or some kind of favor you experienced that you weren't expecting, or just something, right? Because you have to make a decision. Like, life is not going to just happen. You can let life happen like to you, or you can make it happen for you.
Love it.
You decide that.
Love it. Words from the life coach, y'all. I'm telling y'all, get with your success
with Shirley
on IG. Okay, and I know like we're kind of going over time, and I want to be respectful of your time. Girl, I feel like I could just call you and we could just have a conversation.
And I was so nervous.
Girl, I wish that we were in the same city. I'd be like, hey, let's go for coffee or something.
Okay.
So I might skip over some things, but really quickly, what do you think might be some characteristics that people might feel if they have not articulated what their purpose is yet and they're not living in it? Like what, just to help people identify, just some characteristics.
Just a couple things I can think of. You don't feel life doesn't feel fulfilling for you. You don't feel like you're making a difference. Your life is by the book. Like on paper it looks good, but in your heart it feels bad.
Wow.
If that's the main thing. Like when I finally started to understand, or before I could articulate my purpose, I felt really depressed. I had a good career, made good money. There was nothing going on that you would be able to say, if I said I was depressed and ready to kill myself, which I was at that point in life, on the outside looking in, people would be like, why? But if that is where you are right now, it just means that it's time to start looking within and start working on articulating your purpose. And every single person is born with one. And like I said earlier, it could change depending on, where you are in life, what you value, and what's needed, what you're needed for right now, can change.
So if somebody is watching this video, and if they feel like they need some help with that, can they contact you and that'll be something that you can help them with? So if you're watching this video, either on a replay or now, if you just feel like you're stuck in life or just not happy, or if anything that we said today has resonated with you and you feel like you really need some help with getting to that place of, articulating your purpose and living in that space, reach out to Shirley Brooks, Your Success with Shirley, on Instagram, and definitely, get the advice and the guidance and the coaching that you need, because your life, I'm telling you, will be completely different. Okay,
you can do two things. You need to get the book too, because her book is to help you with that as well. Part of your articulating your purpose is your devotion and relationship with yourself and with God, and that's what this book is going to help you with as well. So, if I would do both if I were you.
Thank you. Yes, get the book and call Shirley, y'all. And so, really quickly, is it ever too late for somebody to, find out how to articulate that purpose?
I don't think so at all. Like I said, with me, I didn't really learn it until my late, 30s. I had ideas of things, right? Like in my 20s and early 30s, but it did not become more able to, like, I didn't learn how to express it and operate in it until my middle to late 30s. So I don't think it's ever too late. And not that 30s is old. What I'm saying is, I'll be 41 this year, right? So for me, that wasn't that long ago.
Right.
And so, it's never too late. It's just never too late. I don't believe it is.
And then, so just really quickly on that age perspective, so I just turned 40 this year. And so somebody, actually, I think it was my brother, I had an aha moment. He said, really, you get to do like your 20 years over again. And I was just thinking, because sometimes, we think, 40, 50, and as time is going on, but I'm like, if I can go back and do now with the mindset and the knowledge and experience that I have now, go back in my 20s, stuff would just be so much more different. So I have that, if God allows, I have a chance to, to do 20 all over again.
Right. Now. And that's how you have to think about it. And that's every day. Like every day is a new chance. So, don't look at age as a number, look at age as a gift, and then look at each day as a gift. And if tomorrow didn't go the way that you wanted it to, you got a whole nother 24 hours to get it right or get close to right. Nothing is ever going to be perfect, but
Love it.
you can get close.
Big toast. All right. Any lasting words of encouragement for anybody who is out there struggling with articulating what what that purpose is?
Just everything that I already was saying, just, start moving guided by what motivates you. And I'll say even before moving by what motivates you, because you can be motivated by negative thoughts, right? So start first developing a relationship with yourself. Take the time to get to know you, connect with nature, connect with, your higher power. Get a sense of what you feel like, focus on those things and make you feel like I was created for this or that one thing, and maybe for you right now, that might just be raising your child, or it could be going to work every day. It could be, that book that you were supposed to write like 5 years ago. It just could be any of that. Like, just, tap into you, and it's a choice. That's the main thing, is that, happiness and how you look at life, your perspective, all of that is a choice. Start choosing, make one decision. We make decisions all day long, right? And those decisions we made dictate how our day is gonna, goes, right? In most cases. But you can make a decision to go down in our city, go down 285, and 285 is backed up with traffic, and now you're just like, oh my God, I'm going to be late. You can choose how you respond to that, though, right? You can either be angry and have a hissy fit, which traffic still doesn't move, or you can choose to, okay, I made this decision, I'm going to be accountable to this. Next time I'm going to take check the traffic report before I get out here, so I can try not to let this happen to me again. That's how you have to go with life. Don't allow things that come up that you didn't plan for to dictate your perspective.
Love it. Love it. Well, thank you, Shirley. I want to just say I enjoyed our conversation thoroughly. Your words 100% give life. Please keep doing what you are doing. Guys, if you're watching this on a replay, or if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Shirley. Follow her on IG. Your success with Shirley. And again, as we have mentioned, if you need that help, reach out to her. You can also find the book on my website. Go to richchick360.com, or you can go to BIT, and I'll put it in the comment section along with her contact information, bit.ly/order H2M. And you can check out the book if you feel like you're in that space, or if you know somebody who is. And then, definitely reach out to Miss Shirley. Thank you again, Shirley, for your time, just for coming out and just for chatting, and giving us your valuable words of advice. I mean, I have really had, like you've allowed me to think of things in a different perspective. So thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, ma'am. And I look forward to your panels and future projects, and many blessings to
thank you
with your coaching and all that. And we'll chat soon, okay?
All right. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Have a good week.